To get our Australian home on wheels into Japan, we had to hand it over at a shipping port. Pull almost everything out and clean every single detail. Because if Japan found dirt anywhere, the whole thing could go very wrong. We are Joseph, Martijn and our dog Buddy. We have left the grind behind to embrace the freedom of life on the road, trading office chairs for camp chairs and deadlines for dirt roads. Guided by a Koddiwampo to travel in a purposeful manner towards a vague destination, we are here to share our journey, stories and tips for living adventurously. Hop in and join as we roam, explore and embrace the unexpected. After 2 years traveling Australia, we are now exploring Japan. It's crazy to look back at these images now. This was the day we picked up our brand new Troopy in Australia, long before it became the home we have now lived in for 2 years. And almost immediately we started tearing the whole thing apart. First job, sound deadening every single panel in the car. What are you doing?
Oh, hello. We're currently doing our floor to mount all the equipment or our fit-up. So we're using all these shenanigans so that they can touch it.
Perfect. What started as a trip around Australia slowly turned into something much bigger. The more we traveled with the Troopy, the more we realized we didn't want this adventure to end. Somewhere along the way, we started talking about taking the car overseas, and Japan became the starting point for the next chapter. It was never part of the original plan, but after everything Australia gave us, we wanted more. So eventually, we started looking into what it would actually take to ship our Australian Troopy to Japan. One of the first things we needed was something called a Carnet de Passage. It's basically a passport for your vehicle, and without it, temporary importing a car into countries like Japan becomes a lot more complicated. The application itself was actually pretty straightforward. We applied online through the Australian Automobile Association, and it cost us 1,639 Australian dollars, including a $500 bond. As part of the application, we had to provide things like our vehicle details and a rough itinerary of the trip. Then we just uploaded all the requested documents online. The whole process took around 3 to 5 business days. And while we were organizing everything, we also applied online for our international driving permit through the AAA as well. While waiting for shipping quotes to come back, we started what was easily the biggest job of the whole process, cleaning the Troopy. And after 2 years of traveling around Australia, there was red dust absolutely everywhere. Japan is extremely strict with biosecurity, so the car needed to be cleaned properly inside, outside and underneath.
It's Christmas Day here in Australia. Right now we're doing cleaning the house and it's bloody hot here right now. That is why I'm sweating a lot. But hey, I don't care. I thought like we finished this as soon as possible. Okay guys, it's quite interesting because while cleaning our conversion canvas, I found something that's quite really useful. Our old brush and my favorite, our vacuum cleaner. So it's very helpful. But this task is quite enormous work because as you can see, the roof conversion is like 90% canvas, but the silver lining is we will have a clean trophy once it reach the next destination, which is Japan.
It actually turned into a good excuse to go through all our gear as well, getting rid of things we no longer used, reorganizing everything and giving the whole car a really deep clean. We even repainted the axles and leaf springs to freshen everything up before shipping it out. So while we are underneath here, we're going to do a bit of repaint. There's a lot of stones that were hit the sway bars and the axle. So we're going to I cleaned everything, decreased everything, did a bit of sandpaper, and now we're going to put the first layer, the primer, on it. It needs to dry 2 to 3 hours, and then a quick paint. So all to protect for rust. Good day, another step in the process. Today we're going to do a conditioning report for the car to make sure that all the scratches and stuff are documented. There aren't any on the car, so thanks to the bush wrap that we have, they make a report and that goes to the insurance company to make sure that any scratches that happen after we get paid for. One thing we definitely recommend is starting the preparation early. There are quite a few steps involved, but honestly, most of the process is pretty straightforward if you take your time. And a lot of our days ended up looking like this. Endless car washes, vacuum red dust, and cleaning places on the Troopy we'd normally never even think about. In the end, the shipping itself took about 38 days. Part of the delay was because our container first stopped in Shanghai, where it sat for about a week before being transferred into another ship to Yokohama. And in total, the whole process cost us around 6,700 Australian dollars, not including insurance. Finally, the day is there. Our Troopy, ready with the Australia sticker, will go into the shipping container on its way to Japan. Our first stop on our trip around the world. How cool is that? We worked pretty hard to get the car clean, inside out and underneath, and I think we are in a good shape to pass the border test in Japan. But let's first get it into this shipping container. Exciting! While the Troopy was crossing the ocean, we flew from Sydney to Tokyo with our dog. And honestly, arriving in Japan without the Troopy felt pretty strange after living in it for 2 years. We got some very disappointing news. We knew that our container was already in Yokohama for the last 10 days before we arrived. But unfortunately, our car hasn't been cleared by customs. The day before we left, we learned from our agent that I have to be present in Japan in order to start the clearance process. So when I was here, handed in the passport and the stamp, they still said it's not able to be cleared because there's too much stuff in our car, and the container has been picked up for inspection by customs. So very disappointing. It's going to take for quite a few days. I just got the paperwork back, so now we're going to go ourselves to customs to try to clear it ourselves without the agent there. So hopefully a bit of pressure will help. That means we can only go to the customs office tomorrow on Friday to get it cleared. And best case scenario, on Monday only they start to unpack our container. So that means we have another 5 days in Tokyo. It's of course not the worst place in the world to get stuck for 5 days, but it's quite disappointing because that means we can start our journey almost 5-6 days later than planned. And a bit of extra expenses while exploring Tokyo. But yeah, let's make the best out of it and get this paperwork done first. Once the Troopy arrived in Yokohama, we headed to the customs office with all our paperwork. Our goal was to get all necessary stamps done that same day and hopefully avoid a full inspection. And somehow we actually managed to do it. After spending a few days exploring Tokyo, Monday was finally the day. We spent hours in a little coffee shop near the port, waiting for the phone call that the container had finally been unpacked. And by that point, we were completely exhausted.
We had a great news from our agent that the car is finally
Ready to pick up.
indeed, and we are on the way to the port after almost nearly 5 hours of waiting here at Yokohama.
To be reunited with our troop carrier.
Exactly, like local time it's almost 4 p.m. and we are here since like 10.
a.m.
Yeah, indeed.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, so it's really exciting.
The adventure can begin.
Indeed. I think it's the office.
Pick up my car, Troopy.
So we are here at Yokohama Port, and guess what, guys? Our Troopy is there. After almost 2 months, it's here in Japan. Alright, we're going to inspect the Troopy if there's any damage or like scratch. No? Oh, we have some scratch here. Okay. Yeah. So I can't believe it. I have a good one right now because we finally reunited with this, our home.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All good? Yes? Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Before shipping the Troopy, we placed several moisture absorbers inside the car to keep everything dry during the journey. So the first thing we did after opening it up was pulling them out and throwing them in the bin. And honestly, they did a pretty good job. And just like that, we were finally driving our Australian home to Japan. Hopefully this video gave you a good idea of what the process looks like. But since every situation is a little different, we probably didn't cover every single detail. So if you've got any questions about shipping a vehicle to Japan, feel free to leave a comment and we will try our best to help.